What exactly do terms like atheist, theist, and agnostic mean? You've probably heard these words tossed around, but what do they really stand for? We're going to break down the differences between atheism, theism, and agnosticism, and explore how each one approaches the big question. Does God exist? What does it mean to be a theist? What do theists believe? And why does the belief in one or more gods play such an important role in human history and culture? Stick around as we explore the world of theism and its significance across the globe. Let's start with the basics. Theism is the belief in the existence of one or more gods or deities. People who are theists believe in a higher power that plays a role in the creation, purpose, or order of the universe. But theism itself is a broad concept. It can take many forms depending on the religion or spiritual path. There are two main types of theism: monotheism and polytheism. Monotheism is the belief in a single God, and this includes religions like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. Polytheism, on the other hand, is the belief in multiple gods, which you'll find in traditions like Hinduism or ancient Greek and Norse mythology. People come to theism in different ways. Some are born into religious families where the belief in a god or gods is part of their upbringing. For others, theism may be the result of personal experiences, a search for meaning, or even cultural or societal influences. Religious experiences, whether through prayer, meditation, or a sense of connection to something greater, are often cited as reasons why people believe in a higher power. For many, theism offers answers to the big questions: why are we here? What is the purpose of life? And what happens after we die? Now, let's break down some of the key types of theism. As I mentioned earlier, theism isn't a one-size-fits-all concept. Here are some of the major variations. First, monotheism. This is the belief in one God. Religions like Christianity, Islam, and Judaism fall under this category. In monotheism, God is often seen as omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent, a being that created the universe and oversees its order. Second, polytheism. In polytheism, there are multiple gods, each often associated with different aspects of life or nature. For instance, in ancient Greek mythology, you had gods like Zeus, Poseidon, and Athena, each ruling over specific domains like the sky, the sea, and wisdom. Third, pantheism. Pantheists believe that God is identical to the universe and nature. In this view, God isn't a personal being separate from the universe, but rather, the universe itself is divine. Fourth, deism. Deists believe in a creator who set the universe in motion but doesn't interfere with it afterward. This belief was popular among some Enlightenment thinkers, who saw God as a distant figure, more like a cosmic clockmaker. For many theists, belief in God or gods is deeply connected to morality. Religions often provide a moral framework, offering guidelines for how to live a good life, how to treat others, and how to navigate right from wrong. In monotheism, believing in God and accepting scientific discoveries. In fact, some of history's greatest scientists, like Isaac Newton and Albert Einstein, believed in a higher power. Theism has shaped human history, culture, and society in profound ways. From art and literature to laws and ethics, the belief in God or gods has inspired civilizations and provided a sense of meaning and purpose for billions of people throughout history. Today, theism continues to play a significant role in many people's lives. Whether through prayer, community, or spiritual growth, belief in a higher power remains a source of comfort and guidance for many. What is atheism? What do atheists believe, or perhaps more accurately, not believe? So, let's start with the basics. Atheism, at its core, is simply the lack of belief in any gods or deities. Unlike theists who believe in one or more gods, atheists reject this belief. It's important to note that atheism isn't a belief system or religion itself. It's a position on one question: do gods exist? There's a common misconception that atheism means believe there is no God. While that can be true for some atheists, what's called strong atheism, many atheists simply don't have a belief in a God, but they're not necessarily asserting that no gods could exist. This is sometimes called weak atheism or agnostic atheism. People arrive at atheism through a variety of paths. Some grow up in non-religious households, Others lose their faith after being raised in a religious environment. For some, it's a gradual process, often spurred by questioning, doubt, and a desire for evidence. For others, it might be a more abrupt decision after a significant life event or exposure to scientific or philosophical ideas. For many atheists, skepticism and critical thinking play a big role in their worldview. Atheists often ask for evidence to support claims, especially extraordinary ones like the existence of gods. If no compelling evidence is provided, they remain unconvinced. Let's tackle a few common myths about atheism. First, there's this idea that atheists hate religion or religious people. While some atheists are critical of religion, particularly its role in politics or society, many simply don't believe in it. They don't harbor hatred or disdain for believers. Another common myth is that atheists have no morals or values. This couldn't be further from the truth. Morality doesn't require belief in a god. Many atheists base their moral compass on humanistic principles, empathy, and societal well-being. In fact, atheists often argue that doing good for its own sake, not because of divine command, makes their moral choices even more authentic. Now, you might wonder, if atheists don't believe in gods, what do they believe in? The answer varies. Atheism itself doesn't offer a positive belief system. However, many atheists find meaning in things like science, philosophy, human relationships, and personal growth. Atheists often have a naturalistic worldview, meaning they look to the natural world for explanations, rather than supernatural causes. They might believe in concepts like evolution, the Big Bang Theory, and natural laws to explain the universe, but that doesn't mean they're worshipping science. It's more about using evidence-based reasoning to understand the world. So why talk about atheism at all? Well, atheism is becoming more common, especially in some parts of the world. Conversations about religion, atheism, and belief systems matter because they shape our worldviews, our policies, and our societies. Understanding atheism, and the different reasons people might choose to be atheists, can help foster dialogue, empathy, and respect among people of different beliefs. After all, whether we believe in a god or not, we're all trying to make sense of this vast, mysterious universe we live in. A belief system that often gets misunderstood or mixed up with atheism or theism. What does it mean to be agnostic? What do agnostics believe or not believe? Alright, let's start with the basics. What is agnosticism? The term agnostic comes from the Greek word agnostic, meaning without knowledge. An agnostic is someone who takes the position that the existence of gods or a higher power is unknown or unknowable. Simply put, agnostics say, we don't know if God exists and maybe we can't ever know. Agnosticism is different from both theism and atheism. While theists believe in one or more gods, and atheists don't believe in any gods, agnostics remain undecided or unconvinced either way. They focus on the idea that we simply don't have enough evidence to say for certain whether a higher power exists or not. Agnosticism, as a philosophical position, has roots in ancient times, but it was formally coined by the 19th century biologist Thomas Huxley. Huxley was a supporter of Charles Darwin's theory of evolution, and he argued that it's impossible to know for sure whether or not God exists. Huxley's idea was that intellectual honesty means admitting when we don't know something. Agnosticism, in this sense, is less about belief and more about the limits of human knowledge. It's a way of saying, I'll wait for better evidence before making a decision. So, how is agnosticism different from atheism and theism? Atheism deals with belief. Atheists don't believe in gods. Theism, on the other hand, is the belief in one or more gods. Agnosticism is about knowledge. It's the view that we can't know for certain whether gods exist or not. In fact, you can be an agnostic theist or an agnostic atheist. That might sound confusing, but it just means you could believe or disbelieve while also admitting you don't know for sure. Agnosticism is more about recognizing uncertainty, while atheism and theism are about belief positions. Let's tackle a few common misconceptions about agnosticism. First up, some people think that agnostics are just undecided or sitting on the fence. While it's true that agnostics aren't making a definitive claim about God's existence, it's not because they're confused or avoiding the question. Rather, they see it as a philosophical stance. They don't feel there's enough evidence to decide either way. Another misconception is that agnostics don't care about religious or spiritual matters. In reality, many agnostics are deeply interested in philosophy, religion, and the search for truth. They're just comfortable saying, "I don't know," and continuing their exploration. Why does agnosticism matter in today's world? Well, in a time when debates about religion and atheism can get pretty heated, agnosticism reminds us of the importance of intellectual humility. It's okay to say, "I don't know." In fact, admitting uncertainty can lead to more meaningful discussions and a deeper search for truth. Agnosticism encourages open-mindedness and a willingness to explore different perspectives. Whether you're religious, non-religious, or somewhere in between, agnosticism can be a reminder that we're all on a journey of discovery. Something that might surprise you: you don't have to be an atheist, theist, or agnostic. Yep, you heard that right. In a world where people often feel pressured to choose a label for their beliefs or lack thereof, there's a whole other space that exists outside of these categories. So, if you've ever felt like you don't quite fit into any of these boxes, let's start by asking a simple question. Why do we feel pressured to choose a label like atheist, theist, or agnostic? In today's world, people often find comfort in identifying with a specific belief system. It helps with understanding where they stand, finding community, or just having a framework to talk about the big questions. Does God exist? What happens after we die? Or why are we here? But here's the thing, those labels don't work for everyone. Some of us might be spiritual but not religious, or we might have complicated feelings about the nature of belief itself. And guess what? That's completely okay. You're not required to fit into any one of those categories. Let's explore why. Atheism, theism, and agnosticism are all positions about the existence of gods. But what if you're more interested in questions beyond that? Maybe you're not worried about proving or disproving the existence of God. Maybe you're focused on personal growth, connection with others, or understanding the mysteries of life through a different lens. There's a whole spectrum of belief and thought that doesn't fit neatly into these boxes. Some people identify as spiritual but don't follow a particular religion. Others may adopt philosophies like humanism, pantheism, or even mindfulness practices that don't center around God or gods but still provide meaning and purpose. One of the most common alternatives is the idea of being spiritual but not religious, or SBNR for short. People who identify this way often believe in something greater than themselves, but they don't feel the need to follow an organized religion or accept a specific set of doctrines. For many, spirituality is about personal exploration, finding peace, purpose, and connection in everyday life. It's not about defining a higher power, but about tapping into an inner sense of meaning. This might involve mindfulness, meditation, or even just connecting with nature. SBNR folks are a great example of how you can explore deep questions without fitting into the typical categories. Another way people go beyond the usual labels is through philosophy. Let's take humanism. For example, humanists focus on human potential, ethics, and reason. They believe that we can lead meaningful lives without relying on religious beliefs or the existence of a deity. It's about finding purpose through compassion, creativity, and community. Then there's existentialism, which asks tough questions about life's meaning. Instead of focusing on a god or the lack of one, existentialists believe we create our own meaning through our choices and actions. This path embraces uncertainty, but instead of feeling lost, many find it empowering. So what if none of these labels quite fit? That's okay too. The truth is, belief or non-belief is a deeply personal journey. You might find that your perspective changes over time, or you might not feel the need to label yourself at all. What matters most is that you're exploring, questioning, and growing. Maybe your journey involves elements of different traditions, or maybe it's purely focused on self-improvement and personal reflection. Whatever path you're on, it's valid. The need to define ourselves can sometimes close us off from the bigger picture. So, give yourself the freedom to explore without feeling boxed in. One of the most freeing things is learning to live with the unknown. You don't need to have all the answers to life's big questions right now or ever. It's okay to not know. It's okay to explore, change your mind, or even remain uncertain. Life is more about the journey than settling on a final answer. Whether you find comfort in spirituality, philosophy, or just living in the moment, remember, you're not alone. There are plenty of others who are embracing the mystery, too. The important thing is to stay open, curious, and compassionate, both toward yourself and others. So, that's a quick look at why you don't have to be an atheist, theist, or agnostic. The world of belief is bigger than just these categories, and there's so much more to explore. Whatever path you're on, whether it involves a higher power, pure reason, or something entirely different, it's your journey, and it's valid.